Hello everybody, I've got a 2007 Ford Mondeo 2 litre diesel 140 brake horsepower engine here, but actually this engine has been nicknamed the Jonah. Oh, and if you don't know who or what Jonah is, without reading a copy of the New Testament, he was the bringer of bad luck. And you know what, if this engine was on a ship, I would have tossed it overboard long ago. Yeah, and you can see my first encounter with this Jonah engine here, because there's something unsettling about this engine. It keeps going wrong, and I can feel some kind of presence. Call me superstitious, but there is an entity in this engine. Anyway, the plan for today, I'm going to show you how one of these diesel fuel injectors is removed from the engine, and then we'll take the cover off and remove the leak-off pipes, and I will show you how the leak-off pipes clip onto the injectors and what you need to look out for. Right, get the old protection on first. Okay, so once you've disconnected your injector, 17mm spanner, and crack off your injector pipe union, and you can spin that off. If you loosen the injector pipes on the fuel rail, it will give you a bit more play with the pipes. They'll move about a bit more. You see, now the pipe has been loosened on the rail, the pipe on the injector moves away from the injector, just what we want. Now, in order to remove your diesel injector leak-off pipe, there's a little metal spring clip which holds it in to the injector, and it's in the right sort of a position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip it, and I'll show you this clip in more detail when we get the injector out. On injector number 1, if you can't get the clip out because it's butting up against the rocker cover, what we'll do, with a 7mm Allen key bit, we'll loosen off the injector, and there are 2 of them holding the injector down. We'll just move the injector around a little bit like that of a pry bar. Now we should be able to remove the clip. And using a small screwdriver, you can now just prise your leak-off pipe out of the injector. In actual fact, I've just pulled this pipe out, and the little O-ring that sits here to seal the fuel from leaking is still inside the injector. So we'll fish that out when we get the injector out. And we can now remove the 2 nuts holding our injector down. These injectors aren't generally that tight, but it wouldn't hurt to put a bit of freon oil down there just to ease it when it comes out. You can get these injectors and give them a bit of a twist, like that. So you can stick a pry bar in between the head and the injector and give it a few jabs while you twist it, and generally speaking they come out quite nicely. Actually, I'd snapped the end of the leak-off pipe off inside the injector, so I've just fished the end of it out as well as the seal out of the injector. So yeah, these plastic leak-off pipes, after they've been in use for a while, they are pretty brittle and they can snap quite easily. Oh well, it's a good thing this is a scrap engine. So in order to change our diesel fuel leak-off pipes, we're going to take the top cover off because it's a lot easier. So there's a 10mm, so I'll take that 10mm out. There's a clamp on your EGR valve pipe which you'll have to release, then the pipe can come off. And a 6mm bolt holding your EGR pipe to your vacuum pump. There's a 6mm Allen key bolt and a 10mm bolt holding this EGR pipe to the EGR unit itself. It would be easier just to remove both them bolts. And then you can remove the entire EGR pipe. And don't forget the gasket where the pipe fits onto the EGR valve. There is a crankcase breather hose which goes onto the rear of the rocker cover. There's normally a clip holding this on, but in this case there isn't, so we can just pull the hose off and tuck it out of the way. You'll want to remove your turbo hose from your inlet manifold, and any wiring connectors which go around this throttle housing need to be removed. 4mm Allen key bolt holding your camshaft position sensor in place. Take that bolt out and remove your camshaft position sensor. On the rear rocker cover there would be another breather hose here which goes to an airbox down the back of the engine. This one's already been removed, but you would have to unclip it and pull it out the way. There is now something in the region of 19 or so 10mm bolts which hold this entire rocker cover down. They're all going to have to be removed, and they may be different lengths, so I'd keep an eye where they all go. There's a little bracket at the back of the engine held on by a 13mm bolt. You'll need to remove that because this bracket, believe it or not, gets right in the bloody way. Okay, when all our bolts are out, there's 4 O-rings that go down here. So you want to be a little bit gentle pulling this cover off. You can use a pry bar, but just be careful how you prise it up. And it should come up without too much trouble. See the O-ring where it pushes into the cylinder head? You can now literally lift this entire rocker cover off the cylinder head. So you've got a bit of carbon build up in there. You can now see your leak-off pipes connected to each injector. You can now hook the spring clips out of the injector that's holding our leak-off pipe in place, and then you can just pop the leak-off pipe out of the injector and disconnect your main feed leak-off pipe from your sensor. Now we're all disconnected, you can just manoeuvre your leak-off pipes off the engine. There's a little hole here in the injector, and what we've got to do, this little spring clip, we need to fit that in the hole, and that's what's going to secure our diesel leak-off pipe. But here's the thing, if you've removed an old set of these clips, I wouldn't put them back in. They're not cheap to buy, but what happens is, this is like sprung metal, and after a while it gets weak, and when it gets weak it loses its tension, and so basically the spring clip will be weak and it will start rattling, and in turn the leak-off pipe where it sits inside the injector will start rattling as well and get worn, and then it will start to leak. And in that situation, just putting a new seal on the end probably won't be the answer. It might temporarily fix it, but chances are it will leak again very soon. So you really need a new set of leak-off pipes. So my advice, whenever you remove the leak-off pipes from these injectors and you remove these spring clips, I strongly advise to fit a new set of these clips. And what you'll do, you'll get this clip, you'll put it in the hole like that, and then you'll push it all the way in so it's totally in. Then once this injector is fitted back into the engine, you'll then get your leak-off pipe, pop it back in the hole, and you'll probably need to get a lever to prise that back in, and you'll feel it clip in to the injector. A couple more things with these injectors. There's a copper washer which sits on the bottom of the injector, and that's where it seals in the cylinder head. If that washer is still down the injector hole, you'll need to fish it out, and also you're going to need to clean the hole where this washer sits. So get an airline down there and a screwdriver or something and get it all cleaned up. In fact, it wouldn't actually be a bad thing to fit a new set of these washers anyway. So you'd want to shine a light down this hole where the injector fits, possibly get a screwdriver down there and scrape all the base and clear all the crap out where the injector's got to sit on that washer. And then you can use an air blower to blow all the crap out, just so that the new washer and the injector has got a nice, good base to sit on and it's not going to leak. Because I'll tell you now, if there's any crap down that injector hole, that washer will not seal properly. So you've got to make sure it's cleaned out properly in there. If you were going to replace this injector, there's a plastic bush just here. This bush will have to be slid off and fitted onto the new injector, because the new injectors do not come with these bushes, and they stop any crap and dirt from falling down the injector hole. And so the question you're all going to ask, if you replace these injectors, do you need to code them to your ECU? Well, technically, yes you do. You have to carry out what's called injector correction. There are numbers stamped on the body of the injector which you will have to program to your ECU using a scan tool. But you know, just off the record, I've never bothered myself. I just fit new injectors, start the engine and it drives off. I've never had one come back with any problems. So I guess you can all take your injectors out and change them. Hey Alan,
I made you a cup of tea.
Thank you, boss.
You're welcome.
See, what a nice, kind, considerate boss I have.
Well, I have to keep the Luckies motivated. Bye.